Alrighty, a quick note before we jump into the final episode for this week. Matt and I had a little scheduling mix-up here at the WTFHQ, and both of us double-booked ourselves with personal and professional obligations all next week. And as such, there will be no podcast or WTF newsletter next week. On the other hand, it does appear that the government isn't going to be open for business anyway, so unless something truly wild happens, we'll be back in your inboxes and podcast feeds again on Tuesday, October 10th. Monday the 9th is Indigenous Peoples Day. Thanks for understanding, and thanks, of course, for being here. And as always, feel free to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or over on Spotify while we're out, and that way we come back to a few messages from friends. All right, let's do this. Hello and welcome to What the F*** Just Happened Today, your essential guide to the daily shock and awe in national politics. I'm Joe Amditis. Let's get to it. It's Thursday, September 28th, 2023. Welcome to day 982. Instead of negotiating a deal to fund the government, Matt Gaetz and Kevin McCarthy got into a heated exchange during a closed-door meeting with House Republicans. Gaetz accused McCarthy of paying social media influencers to attack him online, and McCarthy responded by saying he wouldn't waste his time or money on Gaetz. The Senate, meanwhile, has put together a bipartisan deal to temporarily fund the government and avoid a shutdown, but House Republicans have largely dismissed it because it does nothing to deal with the border security and contains additional aid for Ukraine. Further complicating matters is the fact that at least 10 far-right conservative House lawmakers have declared that they won't vote for any stopgap measure under any circumstance. Lawmakers have until September 30th to reach a deal and fund the government. If they don't act, the government will shut down at 12:01 a.m. Eastern Time on Sunday. The government, meanwhile, started notifying roughly 2 million federal workers and 1.3 million active-duty troops that a shutdown appears imminent. At the same time, instead of negotiating a deal to fund the government, House Republicans led their first impeachment inquiry hearing into Biden. The House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer and his Republican colleagues on the Judiciary and Ways and Means Committees have yet to provide any evidence of wrongdoing by Biden, but they continue to promise to present 24 pieces of evidence revealing Joe Biden's corruption and abuse of public office. Additionally, a Republican-picked witness said during the hearing that the current evidence doesn't support articles of impeachment, but suggested that an inquiry was still warranted anyway. Democrats accused Republicans of trying to impeach Biden as retribution for the House having twice impeached Trump. The Senate also adopted a resolution formally requiring men to wear a coat, tie, and pants, again instead of negotiating a deal to fund the government. The move follows Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer's request that the Senate's Sergeant-at-Arms stop enforcing the chamber's informal dress code, which was widely viewed to be inspired by Senator John Fetterman, who often wears casual clothing. The bill, however, does not specify what is deemed as business attire for women on the Senate floor. Moving on, the federal judge overseeing Trump's election interference case denied Trump's demand that she recuse herself. Trump had argued that U.S. District Judge Tanya Chutkan's previous comments, including "presidents are not kings" and "plaintiff is not president," and that January 6 defendants had blind loyalty to one person who, by the way, remains free to this day, suggested a bias against Trump that could taint the proceedings. In rejecting Trump's request to recuse herself, Judge Chutkan said Trump had applied a hypersensitive, cynical, and suspicious reading of her statements when sentencing January 6 defendants, and that the statements clearly do not manifest a deep-seated prejudice that would make fair judgment impossible. Trump's trial is set to begin in March of next year. And finally, Joe Biden will deliver a speech today on the state of democracy in America and the existential threats facing the country. Biden is expected to argue that there is something dangerous happening in America and that Trump and his allies represent an extremist movement that does not share the basic beliefs of our democracy. Biden's address follows a Trump rally at a non-union Michigan auto parts factory where he repeatedly demanded the endorsement of the United Automobile Workers or else warned it's a government assassination of your jobs and of your industry. The auto industry is being assassinated. Biden's campaign called Trump's speech low energy, incoherent, and a pathetic attempt to win the support of blue-collar workers at a non-union shop. That's all for now. You can find the links and sources for all of these stories on the main website. And as always, visit whatthefjusthappenedtoday.com for the latest news and headlines. Until next time, I'm Joe Amditis.